Welcome back to another edition of Construct and Chat. The last episode was really fun to do, and today's edition of Construct and Chat, we have a very talented freelancer, a very talented videographer here with us today, Mr. Angelo. It's good to see you. Thank you for joining the show today.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Pretty good, pretty good. You know, a little nervous is nice.
A little nervous?
It's so hard since being a videographer, just being on the other side. So it's a little different.
We were just talking about how like you were so used to conducting like these setups and like where stuff goes, and now here you are on the other side of the fence.
You're right.
You're the second person that tell me that they are not used to being on the other side. How does that feel to be on this?
A lot different. Honestly, now I can kind of see why, people get nervous being right in front, and then I'm on the other side, like, oh man, what are they doing? So it's different. I love this.
Yeah.
I really wanted to come here so bad. I used to have my own podcast, so I know how that can be and how exciting that is.
Because I remember I hit you up with the idea for. I think you were one of the first people to know this idea. I'm really happy that you were excited to be here for one, and that you are excited for the future of this project. Like, I'm really
no, this is awesome, dude. I can't wait to see how you guys do this.
Yeah, so the basis of the show is, construct and chat, where you construct like Legos, like different stuff like that, and we're just chatting. And today we are building a Polaroid Lego set. Now, I got this specifically for this episode because recently during my graduation party, you brought a camera just like this, and we were going to take a picture on it, but then there was no film.
Well, there was film. It's just the film, they expired. So
expired.
Yeah, they expired. If you don't use film enough within the time range, I guess it messes up. Okay. Whatever is inside of it, and it just couldn't. Well, I think it printed out. I don't know if it printed out or if it just didn't print out and there was no ink on it. It just didn't work, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, our friend took a picture on the camera, and she was just like, nothing came out.
That was imagine that too. That it's one, it was embarrassing that it didn't come out, and two, I had to carry that thing for like the rest of the night, and everyone was like, oh my god, that looks so cool. Can you take a photo? I'm like, doesn't even work.
Well, so you ready to construct?
Yeah.
And chat?
I'm ready.
Let's start off. Prior to high school, you go to Shea High School, right? If I'm, was I wrong?
Yes.
Oh,
I wanted to correct
this is why I can't do my homework.
So I actually went to Tolman High School, and went to Tolman. Before that, though, I did go to Golf Middle School, and then before that, I went to Slater Middle School. So I was kind of like mixed into both. The west side and the east side of Pawtucket. So, but for high school, I did go to the Tolman. And then after Tolman, after high school, I went to CCRI, which is the college I went to. And then after that, I kind of just been on my own ever since then. Oh, I gotta get 3 of these, I think.
So for the people that are watching, I usually do my homework on people before they come on. That was the first thing I got wrong. I should have asked you, hey, what high school did you go to? And then I completely dropped the ball on that one.
And I saw it too.
It's like that moment where like you study for a test, and then the first question comes up, and then you start like, oh, this is the answer right here. It turns out you were wrong.
You know that it's okay. It's okay. I saw it I remember you sent it to me, and I saw it, and I was like, that looks great. Everything looks great. Just not that part. But I was like, it's all right though. It's all right though.
Everyone
I can
makes
see
their mistakes.
I can see that.
Yeah. So did you get involved in like school?
In school, I got involved more in the physical, like sports, typically. I wish there was like film in my school, but there wasn't. I don't know. There was like music class, but I don't think that was not my thing. So I was into sports at the time in high school. I don't know what to do first. I had to grab like...
the book. I think you have to grab the...
these, right?
So no, actually, this, you need this one piece, and then these.
You need three.
pieces,
Okay, so I have this, and then. What are those pieces though?
I think it's these ones.
Oh.
Yeah. Oops, I forgot. I was hiding the bag from you.
My bad.
No.
I was looking at it, and I was like,
Okay, so 1, 2, 3. All right, and then you need this piece.
So yeah, you need this piece with these, and kind of have it
Underneath, yeah.
I think it like something like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the small.
And then you need another
Wait.
one on that side too, because it's two on one on
Wait.
each side.
I think it's this
Mm-hmm.
with this, right?
Oh, that's right, because you're making a.
This is so fun. I haven't done these in so long too. And we gotta go this way. It looks like. Sorry. I think I may have undiagnosed like ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
So I like lose train of thought.
Oh no, you're good.
Like,
So
I'll go off.
you were involved in like in athletics, right? Like
Yeah, so I
anything?
got into more of athletics,
Mhm.
and honestly, my passion for cinema came kind of during that time.
Mhm.
So in that time, I was always that kind of kid that outside of like school, I was actually working.
Mhm.
Like at 15, or I think in Rhode Island it was like 15 and some months, you're able to just get a job right away. And right away I was like, I'm gonna get a job. Like I'm gonna make some money. And my first job ever was working at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, I've met some really great friends that turn out to be friends for life. Shout out to Brittany and Brian. I met Brittany at first at Taco Bell. We were coworkers, and then through Brittany I met Brian. And at first it used to just be Brian and his friends, their group of friends. They would just come into Taco Bell and kind of just hang out there and get free food from Brittany or me that were there at the time. And at some point I kind of just stepped in and like, who are these guys? These guys are entertaining. These guys are cool. So I just kind of joined, and I just joined in their world of just how do I say it? Like just creativeness of like just different ways of thinking than what I've experienced.
Yeah.
And so through that actually inspired my own creativeness, involving myself with those friends kind of drew me the beginning of wanting to get into film or, picking up a camera. I remember we'd hang out, or we'd go to Brittany's house, and we would just grab a camera. We'll just pick up a camera, or pick up Brittany's camera, and we would just create a skit.
What was the skit that you remember that you three did that was like that stood out the most? Because there's a lot.
There's a lot, and a lot of them were like just on Snapchat at first, and it used to be just like most of it was improv and in the moment, and that's what made it so funny at the time. But I think the one that we recorded probably is the only one. I think it's the only one that's on YouTube, which is this dumb idea that we had. And looking it back, I don't know how it's funny. I don't have no idea, and it's still up. But it was the idea that this kid had some sort of like, how should I say this in a PG-13?
Oh, okay.
Well, this kid had a problem.
Yeah.
And to get the problem solved, he needed like Wi-Fi. And we got this idea because I never actually had a phone until I was in high school, until the end of high school, should I say, because all of high school I had an iPod, and all I needed, iPod, but I needed Wi-Fi to ever communicate or use it all the time at the time. And so we created a skit of this kid needing Wi-Fi in order to satisfy his needs. and it was just the improv of like what he had to go through, and we kind of just had this idea of like, oh, what if he comes to the house, to a stranger's house that we put it, and it just turns into this weird, odd, completely off-topic, out-of-pocket video, and we done it, and we thought it was the funniest thing in the world, and we thought like, let's post it right away, and the thing that stood out the most out of it, it wasn't like, at the end of the day, it was pretty bad, but it was the process and the mind, like the talks, or like how we communicate to each other and make it happen during the making of it is what drive me, and it's what inspired me. It's like kind of like what was the spark of it all, of like, this is kind of what I see, what I want to do, is I want to become a storyteller. So that was kind of my origin story, I guess you can call it.
So this is like before leaving high school that you developed this passion.
Yeah, so before, exactly. Yeah, it was something I found after, right before I went to college. But going to college, I went to college for just general studies. Wasn't too, what should I say, excited in college. I kind of went just to get through. So when I went to college, I kind of was lucky to be part of this special program that was going on at the time that was able to grab college for free right after high school for 2 years. And I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I grew up like having those kind of parents like, oh, you need to kind of like know what you want. And what we want you to be is, we want you to go to college. We want you to, am I getting the right piece?
I think that piece that you need, yeah.
I think it was the opposite. Oops. My parents wanted me to like go to college for like, be a doctor, or, your typical, Hispanic parents telling you what they want you to be. And I kind of was a little confused on like what I wanted. And, I love film, but I just didn't know. I didn't know. So I kind of just went to college and did your generals. And during that time, I was actually just playing around with the camera. At the time, I don't think I thought of it as like a career-wise, I don't think. To me at that time, it was just like, I just want to have fun. And college and filming gave me like the space to start practicing, exploring how it works, a camera. Because, I looked it up, go to film school, at the same time I'm going to school for free already, so I'm like, I might as well just spend the time and just learn it all on my own. And it's been just on and off ideas of like, oh, I want to do this kind of idea. I write it down. I try to film it. If I didn't like it, I'll film it again. And if I was trying to learn how to do something specific that I wanted, it would be hours and hours of like YouTube videos and Google searches of like how to do specific things. And while that's happening, you're also learning the names of things that makes this all work. Because jumping into trying to learn in like Adobe and all that stuff, it takes a long time to fully know. And till this day, I don't know most of it, and I'm still learning. And that's just the skill that you have to kind of carry on of always, where does this go? Oh, oops, kind of forgot.
You can get lost in conversation, and you're
I did. I'm so sorry.
No.
I'm like trying to get this
good.
done
I
too.
feel like this is gonna be like we lose ourselves in the conversation. Like, wait, where does this go again?
What am I doing?
So you kind of sorry, you kind of found that passion during your time at CCRI, and you kind of self-taught that. Why not find a program in CCRI that has a film, or did they not offer it?
I'm trying to think. They did, but it was like your typical film class. They would like show, like they would show movies, and you'd have to kind of talk about it, and it was fun. And I guess it was a little bit of the learning experience to practice your eyes and practice, you know, the creative aspect. But I was kind of at the same time a little stubborn, because I was like, all right, what's the next step? Like I was always like on top of learning the best, the newest, and I always had that kind of mentality always. So if I'm not learning anything good or new, I'll just keep continuing moving forward and find it or find someone that does. But I think college definitely was like my own little playground, because at this time I'm making my own little movies, my little skits that I've made personally for myself, and that was like my real passion, was my own fun in it all.
So did you finish CCRI, or did you?
So I graduated just with my general, but right after that CCRI, I went straight to work. And at the same time I'm working, I'm kind of like doing videography for myself. And at that time, I ran into, I guess you can say like almost like a crazy coincidence, I guess you can say. I was just one day, I used to box. And one day I was like, oh, I'm just gonna, you know, make myself like a cool boxing video. And I met this guy in the boxing gym. He was like, hey, like, do you like to shoot camera? And I was like, yeah, this is just like a hobby. And he's like, have you ever thought of doing it as, you know, someone to pay for you to do a video for them? I was like, never really thought about it. But then I was like, but I'd do it. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Let's shoot. And I would shoot this guy, and I didn't even know what that world was about. I would make videos, super cheap service. And that was like the shift from kind of playing around, figuring it out, and kind of slowly fading into like, what can I do with this? What can I start making this, like, what can I do with this skill I've been able to develop? And after that, at the job I had at the time, I left it. I started to really focus more into the skill, investing more. So I was trying to find a job in like the AV world, anything I was able to find. It was hard at tough, but eventually I landed a really good opportunity. And at the same time that's happening, what I ended up having with that one client ended up turning into a guy that was able to create like a big business for him. And he's like blowing and he's going amazing. And I'm like, whoa, now I'm like creating more skills, more things opportunities are happening, and it's a lot now. And it's like kind of crazy to think that now I'm in a position to be able to say that the skills or the passion I've had is creating like the way of the kind of life I want to have, or like that I'm getting paid for something that I love to do, and it feels great, and it feels awesome. And I'm starting to realize too that I'm not the only one. There's like a bunch of people, like people who I met, like we met, and we have the same passions.
Yeah, that was 20 2016, 2017?
Yeah.
Around that time, I think I remember first time I met you. I think you came in through was it the haircut or was it when it was a rehearsal?
It was a rehearsal for a wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't believe it. I can't believe it really.
Yeah, I remember the car that you had.
The rehearsal of the wedding.
Two-door green car.
Oh my gosh, that was the good old days. Oops.
Yeah, I was just like, this kid is so funny. Oh my gosh.
Dude,
and
and
eventually over time, we just like.
It's kind of funny because at first I thought, I was like, oh, this guy looks a little intimidating, or this guy looks a little, I didn't know what to expect out of you. Then I was like, oh wait, this guy's like such a chill dude. And it's been like that ever since.
That's right.
It's been like that ever since. And good people we've been, I've been very blessed to be with, so.
Do you think going to school and learning all those tricks would benefit you more, or is it like self-taught? Or do you think of both?
I think the way I thought of it at first was, well, one, I do think it has its benefits, because the thing that I didn't have that people who went to school or are going to school do have is the networking. Like your networking is, you go to school every day. Like it's an opportunity for you to find opportunities better, because you're in an organization that can do that for you. Not like when you're on your own, you kind of have to go through the mud, or it could be a sprinkle of luck that could happen, but it's a lot of more hard work to try to put yourself out there. But in school, definitely, I think it could be better. It could have been better. I think if I went to school, if it would benefit me, probably, I think. I think I would definitely learn the skills. I probably would have learned the skills faster, because I do know, they kind of give you the tools that you need, right? And when I did it on my own, but in reality, I think the tools you really need is your laptop or your phone. If you really, I've always been a person that, if you really want it, it's bound for you to get it. Like if you really want it, you'll get it. You'll find some way to get it. No matter what the kind of cards that you have, you'll find a way. So I kind of always been that person. I used to have my own studio in Providence, right next to the Brown students. I think it was Brown. Yeah, Brown students that would just come out of art class or film class that they had. And it was kind of funny because I had this mindset of like every day I was in my studio working, and those kids are learning. I always thought myself like, I'm competing against these kids. And I'm like, it always drove me to like, yeah, I gotta keep working. I gotta keep working, because one thing that I will do that will probably beat them is the work I'll put into what I like to do. Trying to figure out, a specific edit. Trying to relearn the process of having a new camera. Everything, really, everything that you can get into, I will try to dive into. When I was able to get my AV job that I was lucky to find, again, it was a kind of field that I would always get into. I'd always try to ask questions. It was always me asking questions like, how does this device works? Like, what is the connection? How does that work with the AV stuff from outside the box? Like outside of this, how does it work? And that was like my next phase, my other side of life that I'm handling while I'm growing this potential business that I'm working on now. And it's just all been both of them clashing together sometimes, and it's a lot. And it's like trying to balance. I'm sure like you and me, I haven't seen you in quite some time, even before. And it was like that phase of like my life where I'm like, I'm just in the bag right now, or like I'm in the mud pretty much, just eating. And I think I still am. I think I still am. But it's definitely been some growth, and it's something I'm always continuing to to keep going for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
So you want to show the people what we got so far? Halfway.
Yep.
Another complex design that I got. That
Very
I need
nice.
We got the basis of it down.
I think we got the bottom, which is pretty good, right? It's kind of been tough, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's what happened the last episode. It was just I got a complex design, and me and Rob just kind of we're trying to figure it out, and it's Legos are, like I said, are a different breed.
Way different.
Definitely different. You mentioned before about your freelancing. Do you have like a name for that, or is it?
Yeah, so the company I went with is Pupan Productions, is the name I went for my freelance.
Where did the name come from?
Yeah, everyone asks me that, like, where does it come from? It's actually the name of my of one of my cats. We had his mom at first, and we had the mom for the longest time. She gave birth, and she gave birth to 3 kittens. And out of all the 3 kittens, the only one survived, was the only one named. His real name is actually Pupaningo, is what we called him. But for short, we just called him Pupan. And I think that's the name that he kind of stuck with, because when you say it, he kind of always looks at you. And I just love the name. I always would, people would ask me, like, what would you pick for a name? And I was like, I don't know. I think I would pick Pupan for a name. They're like, what the heck does that mean? What is that? Like, what does it mean? And I don't know what it really means. It's something my mom was the one that kind of came up with the name, because at the time when he was born, we're like, what do we want to call him? And we're like, we don't know. And it's been like 3 weeks, and this cat still doesn't have a name. And my mom was like, just seeing that he was so into like his mom still nursing, and my mom just called him like, oh, look at him, he's a Pupaningo. And to her, I think it means milk sucker. So that name just kind of stuck ever since then. And honestly, it's a very distinct name. Like, I don't think I've ever heard that name anywhere else.
No, you don't.
Around.
It's a rarity name.
And so I liked that, and it stuck. And people would always tell me, like, I think you should change it if you want to be serious. And I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm ever going to change it. Because I kind of, like, now going into it more, people are like, oh my gosh, are you Pupan? And I kind of laugh inside, because it's like, that's a funny name, and it's nice to have that people see that, and it's a little different too.
You actually created a YouTube channel for that. What was your vision for that?
So I created a YouTube, TikTok. I don't really know what specifically I was trying to go for.
Because mostly they were like skits, and there were like a couple of vlogs in there.
There were vlogs, skits, yeah.
I remember one in particular. I think it was like a reality show.
Yes. Honestly, I think that was my most successful one of like just pure comedy. It would be just me and my friends. Like I said, we'd loved to just get together, and I was the only one with a camera, so I'd always be like, hey, like, let's do something funny, let's do something funny, and let's just do something. Let's be creative. And sometimes they would be like, no. Sometimes I would get into it, and it would turn out to be like that, and it would have been super fun. But those were like my beginning stages. I think during that time is the college time period, and that's when I'm just I'm just making things. I'm just making things, putting it out, not really caring what anyone really thinks, because I don't really expect it. I really don't. And sometimes I see sometimes it'll like shoot or skyrocket, or sometimes it wouldn't, and it's completely normal. And then through there, kind of like, I play around. Nowadays, like, there's like so many people like us, and now we, you start to like feed off each other's talents. Not talents, like more of like a creative idea this person may have. How can you use that into your own way? And I think that's like the core value of creativity. Because I think in very rare occasions, we do make our own. We create our own out of nothing. That's a very hard talent. But I feel like the majority of us, we actually get the talents, or we get the creativity, our ideas from other ideas that people have also had. So it's not like it's originally yours. It's more like you've created almost like an inspiration from this idea to make something new. And as humans, I think that's how we naturally are. We're always just like getting something that we see from one thing, and we just try to make it better, or we put it in our own little perspective way that just makes it unique to us. And for some, that people might call that different, but in reality, it's just like an inspo, or something that kind of just clicks from something that your own experience that you've seen, And that's what makes us all different, and that's what I like.
Yeah.
And I think that's the core of my creativeness. Yeah.
Talking about your creativity and your inspos, who would be, I guess you would say, your mentor or person you look up to while you were going through this road? Well, for me, because there are a few people that stand out, and seeing your content and what you've been able to create each and every day is just like really inspiring, because it's like you're doing all these different things for all these different businesses, and then just like your level of editing is just like top tier.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody to go to and be like, hey, what do you think about this shot, or like what do you think about this edit, or like, was there a mentor that you had while taking this career path?
I feel like throughout all of it so far, I've had a lot of small mentors, people who had more experience than me that I would always go to ask questions. The only reason why I wouldn't call them a mentor is because I guess it was very short-term kind of communication or friendship that I had with the people who were better. And I never really had someone that could sit down and really teach me at the time. Because at the same time, I feel like we're all going through the same thing, and people don't want to, some people don't want to teach or be a mentor, and others are really good at it naturally. But I think for the one person that did stick was my cousin, who at the time that I am like building this skill and I'm trying to build my own company, actually, I always kind of leaned into his viewpoint or his judgment in things. Him and me are completely, I guess we're the same way of being creative, but he's in a complete different business. So I love film and I love everything about it. He loves the music, the cinematography of music, that whole genre, and that's completely different, but at the same time we connect. And so I always thought we always been, cousins growing up with, I would say, kind of like the same dream of pursuing something that you like that will soon become, what you make money off or how you live. And him and me always would be just chatting of like ideas and inspo. And us growing up now, we lean to each other like, oh, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And we're always very like straightforward. Like we'll tell each other like if it's like good or not, or what we can do better on it. And that kind of like rivalry is what you can say, is kind of like been the drive motions. Like now, with the time that I do have, I've been able to find more people like my cousin who I can kind of lean for, like you, or people who I run into. The networking for sure has been growing faster and faster, and with that I'm able to like lean more to people. but I definitely had that core balance. Not the core balance. That core connection with my cousin throughout this whole entire thing, and he's really been somebody that I kind of pretty much vent in the camera world life. Like if I were to explain to him a certain situation I'm stressing about, he would be able to understand, and I think that's really important. I'm very blessed to have something like that. So,
what were some networking methods that helped you throughout like your growth?
I think
that you can give advice to the people that are watching who are looking to be a videographer like yourself.
I think it would be it's super important that kind of service that you give. Being with a client or trying to pursue be with a specific organization, having that first impression is so important. To me, in first impressions and quality, I think has been the key to success in my own work. I've always heard stories of other videographers, of other people, making, having this kind of a pavement price for this amount of videos, but like the quality is just not, it's just not there. And I think when I started, the first thing I really cared about was my quality skills. If my quality skills can be good enough to provide for the people that they want to pay for. And that first impression, like every time I'm with a first client or something, like I go far and beyond. And I think that has to do with a lot with the experience of just being good with people or kind of being like a people's person. Me as a videographer, my goal is always to get the vision of what someone wants. I know that because when I want to make a video for myself, I have to have that vision. Because if you don't got that vision, you can't do it.
Yeah.
In real life, I guess. I think that's how like my
that's like the
brain
power
works.
supply of like what you need to do. Yeah.
And so when I would have these talks with when I'm running with a client or when I'm running with a potential client or something, I'm always like trying to see, all right, what do you want? What do you see? What do you envision? And us having that kind of communication helps me to get what you want. And if I'm able to achieve that, I mean, that's the goal, and I am super proud of that. But you'll run into people that, if that doesn't work, that's when like kind of like the mistakes start to happen and the stress kind of builds up because you're trying to figure out something and you give a final product and it ends up like that final product wasn't what they're looking for, or and it could be like something big, it could be something small. But I think for any beginner, that one-on-one communication when you do have an opportunity, gotta take full advantage of it. Because believe it or not, most of those opportunities are very rare opportunities, very rare occasions that happen once, really. And you gotta go full forward. You gotta full send it.
Yeah. No, I agree, because like when I was in school, I had gotten close with one of the professors at the time. He's kind of like that mentor for me. And I remember it was just a random Wednesday, and I just was like, hey, do you have any internships that I can look into? And he already pointed me to the direction, like, here, I'll write an email for you, I'll put you out there, and sooner or later they kind of replied back, was like, yeah, we'll take him on. And that was probably one of the most I was not even prepared for that, to be honest with you. But it's the fact that you put yourself out there and you did take the initiative to ask.
You got to.
You got to take initiative to ask and put yourself out there, because opportunities like that just come like that. And I still think about it to this day. It's just like, wow, I really took the moment to put myself out there, asked for this, and I was able to get it in no time. So. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
No,
like 100%. Like everything you just said, it was just like to the point. To the point.
And it's funny because, like in my line of work, even in my line of work, where it's not, it's big and it's nice, but I always think of growing more, and even being in the most simplest environments, like in my own job, if we have to set a certain set. And the people who I'm working with are just the kind of people who are just like, oh, I'm just really good at audio. I'm gonna set up audio, and then that's kind of much it. Like you'll either run to people that you can kind of tell they don't really have a passion, because they'll just not want to grow. They won't want to learn new things, and you'll run into people like that, and you'll run into people who are the complete opposite, who are like know way better than you, that you just want to just pick their brains out to see, what more can you learn, or you'll start to run people who are really passionate, that people who will decide to do something and will follow through, and it's like not a cost of nothing. It's just more of like an experience, fun kind of thing. Like this, I love this. I love this. Like this is fun. Even though we haven't really been a little struggling, which is fine. This is
Yeah, this is the second episode that we struggled.
I can only imagine what the first one was.
It was a Lego set of Shadow's head.
Oh, Shadow's head?
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't even sound that
movie
bad,
coming
honestly,
out.
but I can imagine. Oh, the movie coming out?
Yeah.
That's fire, though.
I didn't realize how complex it was. Because you had to construct the face and then the things and the back, and that it's just a lot. It was just a lot.
I can imagine. But I never...
but we were able to get it done, so it was
that's good.
That's the best part.
In like 3 hours?
Yeah, a little bit more.
One thing too, though, I want to talk about too is that I actually never imagined to even going the freelance route.
Really?
Like it was like on the beginning of my story, it was honestly just pure. I guess you can say coincidence.
Then a toss-up question for you: what was your plan B? If videography was not in your mind, like what was that?
Well, specifically freelancing was not in
No,
mind.
like in general, like videography, like you had no thought of film whatsoever. You kind of just like
had an idea at first of kind of just try to get into film school in California, or like try to get myself into like the workforce of the film industry. And that's what I was trying to pursue at first, and what I'm doing in Boston as being in the AV world already. I really wanted to get into the cinematic, like the film world, like trying to, and I kind of see that at the time my skills weren't what they needed. Like I needed to know like certain software, certain kind of equipment that I've been able to handle if I went to school for it or not. So I was like, damn, that's not working out. So let's try. At the time I was like, let's try to now just build up those skills to make that happen. And while that's happening, I ran into freelance. Like, oh, wait, this could really happen. And so, for right now, I think I still am in that beginning stage of what it could be. And it's going great. I love it. It's fun. I think for 2025, it's going to be officially the first time I'm going full freelance. So it's always been like a battle of balancing the two, and now like everything's been going great, and I've been having the opportunity to finally just do it full time, which is going to be fun and interesting. So that's the only thing. I'm really excited for that to happen and see how that's going to end up, or how I'll grow. But yeah, I'm always open to questions for anyone who want to get into that, because people always ask me the same questions, which is like, oh, how do you find clients? And it's like, it's easier said than done.
How did you find clients? Like, how did you put yourself out there? Do they come to you, or you go to them with your work?
Well, at first it was like, kind of, like I said before, it was a little coincidence that it did happen. But doing such a great job with that first client and the first opportunity I had kind of created an impact of other people seeing it, and other people like getting curious of the work, or like, who is this person making these videos? And it took some time. So far, I've been starting to do it. It's been 2 years now. So I've been trying to actually do freelance, or balance freelance and your regular 9 to 5. It's been like that for like 2 years, straight just eating the mud, just being with one client. Sooner or later you'll have 2, or like sooner or later you'll grow and then you'll have 3. And then with those three, you'll start to like, wow, like you start to realize, all right, what am I like now it gets into like, all right, what's my value now? How much should I be charging? Am I lowballing in reality? Am I highballing? And at the beginning, I really like put myself really low at first. And I'm realizing like, dang, I've been eating the mud for a while now, and I'm starting to like, now you're like, oh, you're actually a valuable person. Now you can really pursue these things. You can be serious, and you know, you can see the respect that people are getting from the hard work that you've been given. So it's been fun. It's been great, and yeah, I'm always here to answer questions and stuff like that.
The end, and I wanted to ask you this one question. For anybody who's watching this, and thank you to those who are watching and your continued support, what would be the takeaway that they would take from this episode from you?
I think more of for anyone that's trying to achieve that thing that they're trying to pursue, to really just do it. It's definitely going to be tough, because everyone's situation is different. But I feel like if you follow your heart, if you really pursue what you want, you're gonna find a way. You're gonna find, you're gonna go through those trials, and out of those trials, you're just gonna be better. Life definitely hits a lot of punches, so definitely whatever that may be, make it worth it. Make it that, it's so important that you just have to. You just have to go for it. And hopefully sooner or later, my dreams too will come true. And I'm sure anyone watching this, their dreams too will come true if they, go full of heart and just full throttle, anything's possible.
I just want to ask you this one more question, because your answers are so insightful. And there's moments in our lives where we think about a moment where it's like, okay, this happened and now I'm here because of that moment. What was one moment in your life that made you want to be in this path?
One moment that made me be in this path. Yeah, I think it gotta be the times I'd hang out with Brian and Brittany. Honestly, I think like those core memories of like that beginning, being exposed to some really creative people, kind of triggered it. I think for me that was like my small moment of change, of realization, like this is what I want to do and this is what I want to be. And it's just been that journey of like, all right, how do I do it though? So.
You think having those two really helped? Yeah,
I think for sure. And then after that, it's just been, meeting people in that same world. And it kind of also drives you more, it inspires you more to be exposed to like other people who are creative, and being in that space is a really big drive for pretty much anyone like me. Well, first I want to say thank you for everything. Thank you for having me. Shout out to Rob in the back. Shout out to Alex for inviting me. I appreciate it. Feel free to hit me up if anyone has any kind of questions. I feel like in this kind of world and industry, it's really important to stay in touch, help people who are having trouble in certain areas, or if they just need some advice or how to do it. I remember when I was starting, it was just a friendship of me and Google, just chatting all the time, asking questions, and the answer's always been broad, so you had to kind of really figure out what you're trying to find, and just having other people who are just in the same world just helps a lot. So, feel free to hit me up anytime, any kind of questions. I'm on Instagram and TikTok. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, you could just send me the name and I'll add it. All right, guys.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. It really means a lot to pick your brain about this. Like, I've always wanted to ask you questions, but I don't think I've asked you in-depth questions about what you do. And to me, it's like really inspiring to see you grow from what you were before till now. And you're just getting more and more better each and every time I see you. So I'm really proud of you, really proud of the work that you're doing. And thank you all for your continued support for Construct and Chat. This is Alex from WHCA and signing out. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.